Venture capital. This is what Sanjay was talking about. Only a very small percentage of the startups are venture capital funded. And what that means, it actually means several other things as well, in addition to what he said about being prestigious. If you have a VC funding, yes, you already belong in a very small minority of the startup, so that's already a validation. But it comes with several things. The first one, which may be a little bit surprising to some of you, is that once you take that money, you lose almost all your flexibility in your future course. When you submit that business plan, after you negotiate it, when the money comes, that business plan essentially becomes the essence of the contract. And someone from that VC is going to be sitting on your board of directors. And the person will be going down the business plan to the lines and make sure that you have implemented everything you promised in that business plan. Because the person needs to go back to the VC and have these quarterly meetings, partner reviews, and they're going to be held responsible for making sure that this company does exactly what the business plan says. Even though in many cases that the original business plan may not make sense anymore, most of those cases the VCs will not allow the company to change the business plan. It's a very, very hard, painful process for the VC to agree to change the business plan with you. And this just has to do with how the VCs operate, how they review the performance of investors in these firms. There's something called due diligence. Okay? So before the VC invests in your company, they did a due diligence study, and they have all the partners to approve the study. It's a very involved process. Sometimes it can take a long time. So that's why, in terms of their DNA, they are extremely reluctant to change the business plan, because any changes will unlikely go through the same level of due diligence and so on that you originally took. So from their point of view, they may as well just invest in another company with that changed business plan. It's actually less costly for them to just use a rigid approach to manage all their existing investments and just keep investing in companies that have the different business plans. So from their point of view, of course they want to see you succeed, but they're managing a statistical process. They're managing a portfolio. You're just one part of that portfolio. Okay, you've got to understand how they really operate, right? So the highest, this is perhaps the highest acquisition cost because of all the due diligence process, because of all the hoops that you need to jump through. So getting the first VC funding could be a full-time job for the CEO of a company for 1 to 2 years. Okay? And that's the cost that you've got to be aware of. And very high maintenance. You constantly need to show that you're on track, executing that business plan. You're staying with the business plan, and it costs you the most dilution. The VCs would love to take the whole company, right? So, you know what, but it's the least risk for the founders. And the more experienced the founders are, the less dilution it's going to be. It's a kind of a negotiation process. So be prepared to be diluted almost entirely for your first startup if you go with VCs. Okay, just, you know, that's just a fact of life. But things will get better when you do the second startup, especially if you make some good hits. The third, the fourth will be even better. The deals that you get will be much, much better as you become known in that community.